Hey, Chris Lipe here. Killswitch Engage, Howard Jones, The End of Heartache, isolated vocals. This is going to be a good one. Lots of you have been asking for this, and I'm excited to bring it to you. Howard Jones has an incredible voice. Full-bodied singing, lots of range there, lots of expression, and an incredible range when it comes to his screaming. Lots of textures and interesting things to talk about. And as has become the norm with these videos on my channel, we're not only going to talk about the vocals, we're going to talk about the vocal production as they go hand in hand to creating the sounds that you and I love. So we're going to break down his singing and screaming, and we're going to introspect, and I'm going to experiment and learn from that. But we're also going to talk about the effects, the delay, the placement, the way different vocal parts work together. If you'd like more help with your own voice, and production too, click the link below and join my free voice course. If you want to do some of the stuff that we're covering in this video, you need a solid foundation, and I can help you with that. The free voice course is the best place to start, and then there's lots of ways for you and I to work together from there. Also, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Let's get going.
Seek me, call me, I'll be waiting.
All right, lots to unpack here in just this first little section. First of all, his voice, he sings with a lot of compression. If we just sing this line straight out, seek me, call me, I'll be waiting. Yeah, it can sound okay, but the approach that I'm about to take sounds closer to what he's doing and also adds this extra level of sheen and intensity without going overboard. Let's just take the very first seek me. Also notice he's got that, he's using that vowel substitution there. This isn't seek me, okay? But let's add some compression. Seek, okay? It's a very mild version. We're not going all the way. Lifting something heavy. I've talked about that in all sorts of videos. But we're doing it in a way that creates this sheen. We're not going to break up. Holding back air. Dialing in my support. Again, join my free course if you need help with this. Notice it's right on the edge of breakup, but it's not there. It creates this brightness. Seek me. Then we carry that up into our higher notes. It really does compress. It brings the level more consistently coming right out of my face. We have to use less compression in the chain. And it creates this nice presence. A, B it again. Seek me, or seek me. It's subtle, but it's what he's using. He's also using a lower larynx position. Now, there is no right way to hold your larynx. That's a huge misconception out there. It's okay if it's high, it's okay if it's low, as long as you're not harboring tension and trying to fix it in a certain place. He's got seek, and then he adds a compression. Seek me, call me, I'll be waiting. So much power, but part of the power we sense is in that constant compression, that sheen that's created. Now, let's talk about the effects that are going into this. This is band limited. This line is. Now later it goes to full bandwidth. But if we bring this in like this, seek me, call me, I'll be waiting. And then we add a bit of delay. Test. It's a tempo synced delay, which is also band limited. You can see here, I have the highs and lows taken out. And then this is an 8th note delay. Listen again.
Seek me.
Seek me. Turn up the delay a little bit. Add some reverb to it. Not much.
Seek me.
Seek me. Call me. I'll be waiting. Open up that mouth, drop that larynx a little bit. Use a lot of compression in your voice. Add some band limiting and some band limited delay. Sync to the tempo of the song. Ooh, okay. Moving on with that foundation.
Seek me. Call me. I'll be waiting.
Love that slide off. Listen here. Waiting. A nice letdown. Okay, more on this in a minute. We're going to talk about this sound, this scream that you heard, in context of what he does a little bit later in the song. Because he is a master at bridging the gap and transitioning between primary chords engaged screams and what some would refer to as a more voiceless scream. And those are the terms that I'm going to be using here. The false chords are engaged the whole time. It's what we're doing with our primary chords and our face and our larynx position that will be what helps us transition to these different sounds. That and compression, like we've already talked about at the beginning of this video. Let's listen in context in a little bit.
This distance, this dissolution, I cling to memories while falling.
Okay, now here, he is not using delay, and the sound of the mic is now free, more free at the top end. You can see I just removed or made the filters, the high and low pass filters, a little bit more mild. And that's what, and you also get a little bit of reverb going here.
This distance.
But I'd like to also touch on his bent here as a singer.
This distance.
Listen, distance. He's got those neat little flips in there. Really hones in on those pitches, but there's these things that make his voice sound unique and very calculated. I love that kind of thing. You get a sense of his lower chest, even though he's singing kind of high. Again, dropped larynx. This distance, as opposed to this distance. He also isn't terribly getting his face out of the way. He's showing his teeth a little bit, but there's this command where he's got a low larynx, face is still out of the way, and everything is long.
This dissolution.
And his beautiful vibrato. Dissolution. His vibrato tends to go below the pitch some, and it's kind of this slow, milky vibrato. Love it.
I cling to memories.
You can really hear his positioning. Memories, memories. He also, with his compression, holding back air, places it a bit lower in his neck. Now, I've talked a lot about this on other videos. Make sure you check out my other videos on compression. But we've got there's a bit of old man going on. This distance, as opposed to this distance. That sounds grodier. I've brought the point of engagement slightly down in my throat. Not a ton. It's important that we don't bring it too low or we'll start choking and getting tickles, which is normal if you're doing it wrong. But again, be sure to watch a lot of my other videos on compression to dial this in more. And I don't want to spend a ton of time on this. Just note that's going to give you a little bit different tone. And there's lots of ways to engage your vocal tract in healthy ways to get these types of sounds.
Sleep brings release and the hope of a new day. Waking the misery of being without you.
I like this little squeak at the end here.
Without you.
Without you. Without you. Releasing, sighing into your head voice. Wonderful thing to add to your arsenal of expression.
Surrender.
Okay, now we get into some neat screaming. And this is where we need to listen really carefully to what he does from a range perspective, from a voice perspective. Most of what he's doing is not a voiceless scream. There's his voice in there. There's not notes per se, but we're going to treat it like there are these sort of arbitrary pitches and notes and build on top of that. You've seen me do this before if you've watched my other videos on screaming. And this is a really effective way to get tension-free, intense, and interesting sounding screams, like what he's doing here. It's important to notice, though, or note, that we're not going to sound like Howard Jones. We're going to sound like us, but we can still use these techniques and practice introspection and come a long way, getting close to what he does, but don't try to sound like other people for the point of sounding like other people. Listen through to this passage here.
Surrender. I give in. Another moment is another eternity.
Okay, so this te here sounds very similar to what we had here, right? But if we listen in context and hear how he's accessing his scream, he gives a lot away in these isolated vocals.
Surrender.
Okay, he's got this sort of hoarse sound behind that scream, or shall I say, in the bottom of that scream.
Surrender.
That's where we want to start. Believe me.
Surrender.
And then we've got this other pitch up here. Let's wind this a little bit and get the underlying pitches that are here. Again, this is not voiceless.
Surrender.
Surrender! Surrender! And listen here.
I give in.
I give in! And then
Another moment.
another moment! Again, I'm going for primarily clean sounds and in some cases guessing, but a very educated guessing as to what pitch. Again, not what note, but what pitch. Here's the other component to this. We're going to let our voice fall apart as we approach our vocal break, but we're going to make sure that we keep our primary chords engaged as we ramp up to it. Okay? Let's actually start here.
Another moment.
Another moment! Now, another! That's my break. Just my standard, my voice is cracking. But I'm going to lean into that break as I approach the area where I feel like it's going to happen.
Another moment.
Another moment! And I'm going to moderate compression like we've been talking about. You're going to hear me get closer and closer to what he's doing.
Another moment.
Another moment! Another moment! Another moment! Another moment! keep my voice long, bring that compression down in my throat. Another moment. No, not that. We need to let our voice break at the top of our chest voice.
Another
moment! And add more compression. Another moment! Another moment! It's sounding more fused together, like a normal scream. Once he gets to here, man! It sounds fairly voiceless, but if you peel that back, it's still there.
Another moment!
So we start by kind of yelling with that highly like that. Another moment! And then we add in that folly a party thing at the end, just like I just did. Now listen to how he changes the pitch and texture of this scream.
I give it!
I
give it!
And then he goes up here. So he's choosing a higher pitch. I give it! I got my face out of the way. I thought higher pitch, even though I'm not singing. This is the key to diverse, layered texture and full-bodied screams.
Another eternity!
So we have to practice these sensations separately and get the placements so they feel comfortable, and then work on bridging the two, okay? It's going to require us to really moderate our airflow, have a huge handle on compression. So first we have the stage whisper, vocal cords disengaged. That sounds more like the beginning scream, or sound, I should say. And then we've got the folly apart sound, right? And then practice blending the two. It's not going to be easy. Let your voice break. Let your voice transition into that. See what happens. Remember to keep that engagement high. If you start feeling it tickly down here, you know that you're not letting your voice engage in the correct way. It's going to start competing with your primary chords. It's going to make you hoarse. It's going to make you scratchy. It's going to hurt. And there are lots of guys like Howard Jones who have figured this out. One of the guys I've worked with, Spencer Sotelo from the band Periphery. I've done a course with him, and I've left the link in the description below, so you can check that out as well if you'd like to explore this kind of screaming even more. But the idea is that we want to be flexible enough with our voice so we can have that bedrock pitch, learn to bring that around while simultaneously messing with our face to change the apparent pitch of the scream, and then be able to raise the pitch so much that we are then able to remove the pitch. In other words, mostly disengage our primary chords and let the air get caught all by our false chords. That's the range that Howard is demonstrating here. It's pretty awesome. Moving on.
For comfort, for solace, for the end of my broken heart.
I love how we've got these two different melodies going on. We've got that band limited one from the beginning, and then we've got the chorus melody. And it's almost like this round that's happening.
Comfort, for solace.
Like a call and answer. We've got the seek me, call me, I'll be, and then we've got
Comfort, for solace.
for solace. Again, that compression is very, very important. It puts the notes and blends them in the mix in a way that you can't do it otherwise. Really tightens the performances. Seek me, call me, I'll be waiting. Broken heart. Seek me for comfort. create a bit more band limiting for that initial part. Seek me part. Seek. A little bit more. Really bring out. Seek me for comfort. And then bring down the delay here. For comfort. For solace. For the end of my broken heart. Really neat to interact with your own voice like that, where you've got this call and answer thing going on, one soaring, one answering, and holding it down in a way. Listening on.
You know me. You know me all too well. My
Again, that beautiful transition between that.
me all too well. My
That yelly false chord engaged scream to the voiceless.
too well. My only desire to bridge our division. Yet sorrow.
Again, there. That's a primary chords engaged.
Yet sorrow.
You can hear him dipping down into it.
Sorrow.
Hurrah! There's the pitch.
Yet sorrow.
Sorrow!
I speak your name.
Beautiful.
And my voice mirrors my torment. For comfort, for solace, for the end of my broken heart. Completion.
It's worth noting that the delay is the same on both parts, which creates this neat sort of other instrument in there vocally.
Completion. I'll be waiting for the end of my broken heart.
Also notice that they've left some sibilance in there on the delay. He didn't band limit it so much that we don't get the t. We actually want that percussion, that revolving percussion happening on the production end.
Am I breathing? My strength fails me.
Doubled here and delay.
Your picture.
Very long face.
Am I breathing?
Am I breathing? Am I breathing? Very big and long.
Your picture, a better memory. Yeah.
Love the yeah at the end.
For comfort,
For comfort. So light.
comfort, for solace. Seek me for comfort, for solace, for the end of my broken heart.
Broken heart. And letting that delay carry it there. You can hear that they've likely, I hear it, they've manipulated this with auto-tune. I think he probably sang the notes, but they tightened it up quite a bit. But it gives it that almost synth-like sound.
Broken heart.
That note is holding, and then we've got the really, really neat, sort of almost dissonant sound. Thanks for watching and experimenting and learning along with me for Howard Jones, Killswitch Engage, The End of Heartache. This stuff's challenging. There's a lot going on, and the masterful way that he transitions between that voice, primary chord engaged scream to that voiceless, higher texture, he's one of the best, I think. Again, if you'd like more help with your voice and vocal production, click that link below and join my free voice course. We'll see you for more.